Comms, check. Ground control, check. Optics, check. Acoustics, check. All right, I think we're good to go. Hello and welcome back to KSP Without a Map. Last time, we performed a nice little bit of redemption and have made it to Dresth. And here's how we did it. Well, I guess here's the results of that, I suppose. How we did it was a somewhat novel form of orbit alignment using the explicit lack of inclination alignment in order to match up the eccentricity. Long story short, we were able to just sort of like go under the planet, then match its speed, and then fall up to it. But without being in the SOI, because it was done using the relative inclination. Hey, I'm just gonna stop talking and go back to the Space Center. Point is, we made it to Dresth. And now that that half of redemption has occurred, I think it's time we do the other half and get ourselves to Moho. Important? And it's good to do. So as far as the vehicle we used, part of the reason we could not get to Moho initially was because of a complete lack of fuel at the end of the trip. But the ship we would use to do that, namely the dragster, is already pretty fuel rich. I don't think there's much else we can do to lighten the load. It's my hope that the new novel strategies that we've invented last time will be good enough to get us there. At least to do like a flyby, maybe a capture if we have enough fuel. I think this is going to be a test of our just ability to like pilot well, as opposed to strategize well, because you know, getting to low orbit is a difficult thing. We might even have to swap to ion thrust, and I really don't want to swap to ion thrust. But I don't see any need for a big old fancy preamble. Let's try and get to Moho. This is going to be our second major attempt at a Moho pass. I very much doubt we'll have enough fuel to land, given the happenings of last time, but we'll try. At the very least, I'm hoping the inclination will no longer be such a problem, given the strategies we've invented to circumvent that. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. You don't need to be part of the tech team for this. You just need to acknowledge it's happening. Do I really want to do a night launch? How about we take the extra care for good optics and do it when the sun's out? Okay. You have a good totally leaving right now. And I'm gonna launch this rocket in 3, 2, 1. Good start. Yeah, good fuel is gonna be important. The more fuel we can save, the greater odds of success. And this is perhaps one of the few missions that is actually very truly constrained by our fuel supply. It'll be this, and then it'll be like Joule and beyond. In fact, in the instance of Joule, it might be worthwhile to actually invest in ISRU. Just make like a proper colony ship. Might be justified, but that's a different mission. Hello. Given the name of your account, I assume you're interested in the space portion of this. You're in luck. We'll be there shortly. Beautiful separation. Proceed. Feels like we're almost a little shallow, but that might just be my own nerves. We are still in the soup of the atmosphere. I could do with rising a bit. Good, fantastic. Then you're already aware of just how much of a problem this challenge run might be. Okay, I'm gonna wait till... We're very horizontal, so I'm inclined to wait till 2100 here. I'm not the greatest when it comes to performing ascents, but it'll be good enough. Right. Oh, I have overshot it, but that's okay. If you're referring to like the maneuver mechanic, I understand, but we don't even get to look. Hold on, let me press the map key for you. Yeah, I removed it. Oh, for your general update on what's going on, we just last stream managed to get to Dres, and now we're going to Moho. And this is just a little probe relay lander. Hopefully get our network up. Alright, let's see here. It gets pretty wild. We've had to reinvent a lot of astrodynamics. Not really astrodynamics, just like astrometry. Lot of math. You'll see it soon. Okay, we're in atmosphere. Do that. We good. Could have brought solar panels, I suppose, but we got the RTGs. Okay, step 1. Get to apoapsis, wherever it may be. Try and keep ourselves vaguely pointed forward. Okay, that's a very low apoapsis. I'm kind of proud of myself. Step 2. Engage math. Okay, here. So, this is going to be a classic situation. Current altitude is 77053. I see no reason why we can't just circularize to 77,000. Target velocity is 2282.7. Okay. Do a little ascent just to keep our absolute strap. 2282.7. Went a little far. That's okay, though, for a low orbit. Yeah, I had to calculate these out myself. You can't see it anymore, but this is built out of a large chain of individual data points that we've slowly uncovered through just physical in-game observation. I didn't look up the parameters of any of these things. I've had to rederive them myself. And once we get to Moho, I'll be able to derive its parameters as well. Okay. Speaking of Moho, we are on the sun side. We're going to have to slip around to the other side because we are going to have to descend rapidly. And by that I mean go towards the sun. Where'd the sun go? There's the sun. Now we're going to have to eyeball the angle going out of this, but as long as it's on the sun side and lower than high noon, I think we'll be okay. In the meantime, let's prepare the interplanetary burn. So we are currently sitting at roughly an altitude of... Sorry, there's a lot of like menus and tabs and stuff I gotta deal with. 77471. For Kerbin, that would be an escape velocity of 3214. Put that here. If we are going from Kerbin to Moho, the excess velocity we need when we exit the SOI is going to be... I forgot to copy it over. Kerbin to Moho. There we go. It's going to be negative 2349.34. Total target velocity of this burn of 3,981.4 meters per second, retrograde relative to the sun. So our target is 3981.3. Good. As for when to do it, this is a pretty extreme burn. I think we should wait quite a bit after sunrise. Assuming an excess velocity of 0, we would want to do it at the day-night barrier. An excess velocity of infinity we'd want to do at high noon. This is going to be something in between, as is most things. I have absolutely no idea. We do not have an easy way of measuring that. I guess I could measure that, but it would be near impossible for us to determine where Moho is. So instead, we're going to have to adjust and correct the phase when we get there. As far as when we're going to burn, we're, I guess, fairly close. So 3214. Okay, so 3981 is the speed to beat. We are going to have just about enough fuel on this stage to do that. I guess we may as well start. In 3, 2, 1. Target velocity is 3981.4. It's always a little ominous, just flying out into the unknown with nothing but a number to tell you if you're on the right track. Okay, we're just about on pace. We'll be able to see how on pace we are once we exit the SOI, but for now, we time warp. We're looking for an escape velocity, well, an excess velocity of about 2300 when we leave Kerbin's SOI. And looking at our launch angle, it seems that we may have burned a little early in our orbit. Let's see. Moho's right over there right now. I don't know what that does for our encounter right there, but it's pretty retrograde. We can see the sunset line. Actually, I guess that's the sunrise line. No, that's the sunset line. So we're not too far off. I'm more concerned about our speed. So excess was 2349, 25, 24. Flux is around 2350. We're nowhere at the good speed. And like any error, we can correct when we get there. Good old Minmus. Good old Moon. Okay, that was pretty good. And now we're in the sun, and according to our retrograde vector, we were a little off in the angle. But with the right speed, it won't be that big of a deal. Let's go to periapsis and see how bad it is. We're expecting a periapsis of, well, around Moho's semi-major axis, and that's like 5.2 million meters, according to our measurements of its orbital period. So we're expecting a 5 somewhere here. Oh! Okay, so we made it. Where's Moho? Moho is behind us. Our periapsis is a little high, though in our data it's relative to its radius, not its altitude. So we'd have to add the sun's radius to that. So we're looking for about weird that it's 261550 as well. But I guess that means we're looking for something along the lines of 55 million. Now we're a little past it, but let's see if we can't like try and do a phase adjustment here. Go into locked camera mode, and then I guess normally I would be ascending towards it. So let's spin the ship. We're looking to point at Moho. I am going the wrong direction. Stop. So this is about 45 degrees behind Moho. This is highly inaccurate because our periapsis is not in the right location. But it is enough. While this goes back to pointing retrograde, let's do the phase alignment. Just like one little pass. 5906 million. And we are pitched down just about 45 degrees. So from here, if we wanted to get into a phase with Moho in one orbit, we would want to target an apoapsis of about 7.8 billion. I vote we do that in 2, and then when we get to the apoapsis on the other side, we will recalculate this again. Which means we want a targeted apoapsis of 6.8 billion. Just keep this up, I guess. into our sun calculator. Of our current altitude, which is, again, 5906 billion. So we want a target velocity of 14153.8. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So I didn't get like an off by 10 issue. So we may as well do it now. 14153.8. Out of fuel. Good stage. Well, aside from this taking a while, I think we're on a good course. We'll lower this down to about a 2-orbit phase alignment, then we'll flip over to the other side, lower our periapsis to something more accurately at the SMA. Then we'll start doing some alignment. Said this is cutting deep into our fuel reserves, but this is going to be the most expensive maneuver we do. So it makes sense. We're going to be hopping back and forth between the phase aligner and everything. The next thing we're going to be doing is checking the phase again in terms of the camera, so I'm going to stay in lock mode. About 1,000 more to go. I guess I could accelerate this a little bit. Our ship is relatively well put together. It won't spin out wildly if I physics warp. I mean, everyone has to start somewhere. Even famous real-world NASA grade physicists have made some dumb mistakes in the past. Okay, almost. 14153.8. Great. Okay, we time warp here, go to apoapsis, and lower. Right, we're in locked camera. Okay, apoapsis is coming up. Oh! Little too far, but I forgive myself. Okay. We're here. So current altitude is 6611 million. Target is going to be just raw Moho's semi-major axis. Apsis. I keep wanting to say axis for that. So that will be 12162.7. Not that far off. Oh, we should point retrograde. We should also maybe go about fixing our periapsis because I keep missing it and I feel bad about that. I'm being sloppy. So let's just burn a little bit up while we're doing this, just to give it that little bit of delta V. 12162.7. Okay, apoapsis has been adjusted. Oh, whoa, 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 I picked the wrong node. Go to retrograde, please, not prograde. That's just a little bit of pilot error. My apologies. Correct that. Go to retrograde proper, 12162. .7. Okay, this should put us right on the semi-major apsis of the planet we're trying to get to, Moho. And from there, we can go strictly into phase alignment. Where's the sun? There's the sun. Okay, waiting for periaps. Oh, right, it would be backwards. You subtract when you're going from... Yeah, okay. That explains it. We're going for an altitude of almost exactly perfectly 5 billion. That explains it. Fortunately, I already did the math, so I didn't have time to ruin it. Okay. Now, where the heck is Moho? Facing up, is it in front of us or behind us? It is... Una, Gilly, Elu. Wait, account for its eccentricity. It could be to the side of us. Whoa! Okay. Call me crazy, but I think that's actually phenomenal. Okay. Wow. Our alignment is very, very good. Okay. I truly did not expect that. Well, in that case, let's just circularize. One 14926.7. Okay. It's a lot, but it's all we need. If we were being responsible, there's an argument that we could maybe like align our inclinations better using this high orbit while we still have it, but that would lose the phase. And we're trying to ignore the inclination for the purposes of our new strategy. So 14926. Go. Thought I brought the radiators. 6.7. Okay, we should be circularized. To help verify that, let's go into free camera mode and just sort of... Is it free or orbital? I think it's free. Yeah. Go into free camera mode and follow Moho as it pulls some stunts. I want to see if we're in the epicycle. Given its position right now, we probably are. But since we're in a circle now, it doesn't matter. Ooh, it's gonna be tough to see, is it? Round and round it goes. Kind of harder to follow the epicycle given it's so inclined. Probably the most inclined object we'd have to land on so far. Or even just encounter. But generally speaking, it's in the right spot. Also high. Sorry, I'm just trying to follow this, like, random maroon dot in the sky. This is prograde. Vaguely this camera direction. Which means Moho's in front of us, we should expect it to raise and then slowly descend behind us. I'm trying to think we're actually very close to the edge of the circle. This is actually really close. Somehow, this phase alignment is near perfect. I don't think we can get any... Yeah, it's about to... We're about to go side on to it. Okay, this alignment is incredible. We need to take advantage of this. What's the best way to do this? Which camera angle gets perfectly up to be perfectly out? Okay. Right now, the camera is facing pure south. We wait till Moho hits us here. And then we get to work. Okay, here is the situation as I understand it. This is the exact same circumstance that I used as justification for getting to drift. We are in a circular orbit with the same semi-major apsis as Moho right now, according to our measurement. The differences is inclination and eccentricity. At this exact point in our orbit, we are approximately aligned, like, such that Moho is directly above us, according to the normal of our orbit. But we still have a difference in eccentricity and inclination. Inclination, obviously, it's on the same plane as us. But if we match the eccentricity of Moho right now, relative zero our velocity along our own orbital plane, then, in exactly 1/4 rotation of our orbit, Moho will, physically, from our perspective, not move laterally and simply come towards us. If we can follow it, keep it directly due north or south, I forget which direction this is, from us right now by just matching speed, it should fall right into us. This is how we got the dress, and this is how we're getting to Moho. So from my perspective, it was moving like this, but more logically, I should be moving radially. Even if it's perhaps not as effective. Yeah, it'd be a waste of fuel to do it like this because I know that we're trying to deflect it like doubly. But let's just run it by the nodes. Okay. It's moving mostly down. I'm going to give this a minute of solid burn. We're going to have to eyeball this, but as long as we're checking the relative velocity, We've got something. 60 seconds. Go. My only concern now is running out of fuel. Okay. Relative velocity. Still down. Follow it. Another minute. This is the scary part, because this is the point of no return. If this doesn't work, the entire mission's a failure. I cannot correct this. Not to mention the fact that we wouldn't have fuel to. I'm just going to go to the solid minute barrier. It's not going to go well for us. Okay. Relative velocity. Still down. I'm going to give it 2 minutes. Because we know vaguely what direction Moho is moving. If we're not thrusting in that direction, then logically we haven't gotten our radial velocity or a radial in node to adjust to be perpendicular. So really I should be using this as like a dial. The moment our ship starts pointing in the direction of Tres is the moment that we know we've made it. But the camera angles involved in that is not precise. At this point, just like draining the entire stage seems likely. I was right to be concerned about the lack of fuel. Okay. Relative velocity is... Oh, we are burning. We are burning too much fuel. Moho's orbit is too low. Its kinetic energy too high. Its eccentricity too meaningful. I'm fizz warping this. And I ain't stopping until the satellite dish on this ship is pointing in the direction of Moho right now. Kill the stage. All right. Relative velocity is still down, but I think we're making progress. Stage. Okay, the camera is perfectly pointed towards the normal. Checking relative velocity. Oh! Oh, that's progress! It's not moving. Okay, well, it's moving, but it's not moving that much. It's actually moving outwards. So let's go retrograde. 3, 4, 5. Still retrograde. Another 5 seconds. I'll do 10. Oh, okay, okay. Great news, good news, and bad news. The good news is that we're so close that the glint from the planet is no longer being rendered. The bad news is I can no longer see it. So we're gonna have to use alt mode to see the text for the name and see how that moves. Barely down and barely out. Okay, the down and out is increasing. That might just be parallax. But yeah, okay. And if it was going in that direction, and we're now relative this direction, we want to go radial in a little more. Yes. Frankly, I'd be happy with it going up. Oh. I can see it. I can see the little dot of Moho. Okay, okay. I think we're gonna get a flyby. We can do this. We can do this. Okay, okay, okay. I don't know when we're going to get an encounter, so the best I can do is just keep adjusting, trying to go for functionally a collision course. I'm warped at 1,000, it's still moving out. Come on. Might actually be more reasonable to put Moho at the side here, just so we have more screen real estate. I don't know the SOI of Moho. I don't know how close we have to get. I wouldn't even know how to measure that right now, but it is there. Come on, come on. We are not in the SOI yet. We're so close, but we're not in the SOI yet. I can see the dang planet. How is it not the SOI yet? I thought we were into... Oh! Wait! Surface, radial in. Where are we pointed? This is it. We're in. We're in. We're in. We're in. We're in. We are in SOI. Quick, do a science. I need to know I'm not dreaming. Yes. We did it. All right, and okay, our orbital velocity is pretty darn high. I don't know if we can get an orbit from this. So instead, I'm going to prioritize just doing as much science as we can. Actually, let me get... Let's take a picture of this, buddy. CurbNet. Zoom. Look at it, our buddy. Oh, man. Okay, so... This actually stinks because if we can't get into a circular orbit, I can't get the parameters. At the very least, I can get a rough estimate for the SOI. Assuming we just got in, I'm going to make the SOI 9.2 million meters. So let's at least chunk that in. Let's say 9.2 million. Let's call that confidence level red, but at least we're getting a number in there. Okay, okay. We at least got a data point. Okay. Now, the most efficient way to do this would be to... Okay, well, notionally, I should be doing this as high as possible, but I don't think that'll help in the long run. Like, this is just grazing. But I will expend... Oh, wait, hold on. In terms of fuel efficiency, it is more fuel efficient to spend all of our monopropellant first. Get this inefficient fuel off the ship. That will raise our delta V in terms of our regular engine. I'm aware of the tyranny of the rocket equation. Burn your inefficient fuel first. Plus, the delta V difference from this is actually meaningful. Quite a bit. Okay, we're about halfway through. We've gained like 100 delta V doing this. Don't know it'll be enough, but I'm happy with it. It's not like I need much monopropellant. I got a reaction control system that's pretty darn good. Maybe I'll even dial back on the monopropellant for future missions. Just save on the fuel. Okay, delta V at high orbit of a lot. But a true velocity of more. I don't think we're getting an orbit. We are simply going to get a flyby. That's okay. Try and get more science along the way. In fact, we do have this magnetometer boom I should be using. No, the magnetometer boom was on the nuclear stage. Oops. Okay, yeah, we're gonna need a much bigger ship if we want to get to Moho long term. Just see how many biomes we can just accidentally hit. Okay. Okay. So we're out of fuel. Our mission now is just to get some science. You know, one thing we could do if we're careful. This is science mode. So there's no money involved, but there is science going on. I really didn't want to do, like, hey, go into this exact orbit without knowing the map. I'd have to reinvent the parameters and stuff. I can't even make waypoints. Well, I can, but I can't find them. I do. We've gotten a lot so far. That's what going interplanetary will do for you. But I do have one more piece of information that we could derive here. If we know our excess velocity leaving Moho's SOI, and we know our velocity at our periapsis and altitude at periapsis, we should be able to figure out what velocity we would need or would have needed to get into a circular orbit at that altitude. Kind of reverse of the interplanetary launch equation. Now that won't tell us what we need to know, because the first thing we need to know is the radius of Moho, and our measurement system for that requires a orbit. We can at least get something. And yeah, we were going way too far. We're about 1,000 meters per second off of getting a proper orbit, which is unfortunate. Okay, so let's just run these numbers in just somewhere. I'm gonna put them below the radius survey just because there's something. But it's going to be a different method than I usually do for figuring out these stats, so I don't have like a pre-built equation. So right now, we have a periapsis of, you can't see it right now, but 8836,000. Which is okay. So I'm going to move this to here. The periapsis is about 8836,000. Orbital velocity is 769.3. Next thing we need to do is leave. Figure out the SOI upon leaving and our orbital velocity upon leaving. Knowing that we're expecting it to be at about 9.2 will help. But we might actually have to, like, go into the archives and... like, we may need to clip this so I can look at the numbers right before it changes. Oh, wait, pause that. Before we do that, we have some Midland science to get. Unless I'm mistaken. CurbNet says we're over the Midlands. Gravioli detector says we're over the Highlands. It's a little disappointing. Now we're like alternating wildly. Hey, we got lucky. Great. Okay, that's a bit extra science. Yeah, we need the excess. We need the excess at escape. Whoa, 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 whoa! It just happened. We missed it. That's okay, because I am recording this. Where's the clip button? Found it. Okay, so this is some new. We're going into the tapes here. You can't see it, but I see it. I'm gonna go to the clip. We're gonna go right before we left, and I'm gonna log those numbers. Okay. From what I can see from the clip, just quickly, arbitrarily skimming through it, it would appear that our velocity was 767.9. So this is excess velocity. And our SOI upon exit was 9,396,000. Okay. So what can we do with this? Well, in accordance with our escape calculator, our literal velocity at a given point, like, okay, let's say our, okay. Man, okay, so lot of stuff. Recap of my internal thought process. We don't have enough. So the whole correlation here is that the velocity of our real velocity at the excess. I'm rambling. This is why I wasn't talking. This was our velocity at periapsis. This was our velocity at the sphere of influence edge. This would have been the exact escape velocity at periapsis for our given altitude. These are correlated by the Pythagorean theorem. And as a bonus, our escape velocity at a given altitude is the square root of 2 times the velocity for a circular orbit. So putting that all together, this equation gets us, knowing our velocity at periapsis and our velocity at the SOI, what our circular velocity would have been at that point. So I did that, and I ran the equation, and we got 32.8 meters per second. Problem, we don't know our actual altitude. We know our surface altitude, we do not know the radius, because we don't know the radius of Moho. Which means we can't actually go any further and get any information. We could, theoretically, if we knew the radius of Moho, figure out a lot more information. But if we know the radius of Moho, we can already do this, and then do our regular survey as we've already done. So in terms of getting the parameters of Moho, this is mostly a wash. That's okay, though. We reached Moho. This is still a victory. The only reason we could not get closer is because we ran out of fuel. And given the failure that happened last time, I'm fine with that. We made it. And now we can make it again. We just need a ship with like 1,000 more Delta V. Probably a lot more, because we got really lucky with the phase alignment here. This is still a phenomenal success in terms of piloting. Ship design could use some work, but we've done some real good stuff here. And it's only been an hour. It took us like 3 hours to get the dress. Probably because it's just further away. Okay, so nothing left to do here. Back to the tracking station. Oh, if you're wondering how I disabled the map for the tracking station, I just sort of took the tracking station UI and made it bigger so I can't see anything. So I can't use that either. I agree. I agree. We can refine this. We can make a dedicated ship for getting that orbit. Let's build one. We got some pretty good designs on here. We could swap out the nuclear stage, or even the upper stage. We could swap that out for like an ion drive. Would probably work fine. Okay, there's... Okay, I have bad news for you. I think that the game has crashed. Yep, there it goes. Okay. Well, that's fine. It's not like we're worried too much about perpetual progress here. After all, the real data... Well, the real progress is the data we've collected along the way. If you'll excuse me for a second, I have a game to reboot. Which one of these is my standby screen? Yeah, you know what? I'll be here with you. Hey. Yeah, I gotta reboot the game. Unfortunately, this is gonna take a bit because I also have to, like, make sure that game isn't bamboozling me as I do this. But I think we should be fine. That's normally only a problem if the game closes, not crashes. But basically for, like, stylistic perfection, I'm trying to make it so that for the stream series, the only save available is this one. Unfortunately, Steam's Cloud Sync is contesting me on that. This is just my own perfectionism at work. It's not that big of a deal. In case you're wondering, the game is doing that thing where it runs a little bit. That's a good sign. In fact, I'm going to stay on this menu until I open into the save, but you can at least see the game as far as I see it, you know, on the way. Oh, there it goes. Okay, great. It was stuck opening the Making History expansion. I guess while I'm here and we have somebody who is an actual KSP expert instead of my normal people who watch that don't really know how this game operates. The important mods that I'm using for this is... I mean, I've got your normal collection of things like Parallax Scatterer, all powered through CCon mod loader. But the one that's making this, like, tick is the Distant Object Enhancement mod, which is allowing me to see the planets from a distance with those white glints and the text when I hold the Alt key. That's the only mod that I need to enhance my abilities to actually be able to make ground observations and track the position of the objects in the sky. As far as the thing that disabled the map, I modded that in myself. Boot up the map. Yeah, I had hoped, like, way back before when I wanted to do this, like, pure vanilla, that the tracking station satellites pointed towards the celestial bodies while it pointed in random directions, like right now. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that. I'm pretty sure it just points in random directions. Just every once in a while, it picks a random point in 3D space and follows that until it points somewhere else. My hope was to, like, attach a satellite to the tip of the dish and, like, randomly log its heading as it points in different directions. That was my original hope for this. But with that out of the way, I decided I'll just add a mod that makes the planet shiny at a distance. And then make my own measurements my own way. Such as, but not including... Oh, these aren't even old enough to do that measurement. Where's the... Yeah, this thing. This silly little thing was, like, my first attempt at measuring the, like, precession and movement of the moon. So I could figure out how far away it was. I would do, like, one observation every, like, one Kerbin day. See its change in position and then measure out, assuming it's a circle. Which it pretty much is. I'm looking at it for nostalgia. Yeah, this thing. I think it's the thumbnail of one of the streams. Just like, hey, target angle, log target angle, point this at the moon, see what measurement we get. And that's not even to talk about the polar bungle, the solar bungle, which were the satellites I launched to track the planets and their orbits. I think I'll actually need to launch a satellite to Joule, like a Joule location-specific polar bungle, so that I can measure the orbital periods of the moons. Though those are easier because I'm pretty sure like 3 of them are in sync with each other. Like their orbits are multiples of each other. Kind of like some moons in actual solar system. Point is, after this long detour, we can finally enter the VAB and have it not crash. Look at this dinky little thing. Machine that tracks the position of the moon. Okay, let's open the Duster. Dragster, sorry. And see if we can't refine this with a few more tanks of Delta V. Logical thing to do would be to elongate the nuclear stage that is the critical component here. Actually, I risk leaving the VAB and coming back in. I want to see if we can spend some of our science. I have not purchased anything with our science in a while. I feel like we've gotten most of the load-bearing stuff already. Yeah, we've gotten a lot of it. And what are we going to need with planes? Answer, Leith. Experimental aerodynamics would give us the Mark III fuselage, which is not meaningless. Experimental science would give us the narrowband scanner. And bigger tank for ISRU jank. We could also finally get the bigger mechanical actuators and stuff, but I don't really have a need for something big like that. Unless we start making like some crazy colony ship for Jewel. And then the rest of this is just blight. Like, I really am running out of science. For our purposes, in order to make a nice, stable ship, I think the thing I want right now is the Mark III liquid fuel fuselage for elongating the nuclear stage. That's my priority. $10,000. Okay, yes, I'm getting this. And then we have 772 left over. Can't get experimental science, though. Would like that. Actuators, we may as well. If we've got the science for it, we may as well get the stuff. And even if I don't need airplane parts for progression right now, they're nice to have. I didn't know there was an expensive version of the volumetric clouds mod. I didn't attempt to get the volumetric clouds mod because I didn't want to overextend on hardware limitations. Game's already crashing enough as is. Okay. So, let's make the Dragster 2. Let's see here. Clear off this tank. Move the magnetometer booms up here for a second. Ditch you, ditch you. So a nice stable one-piece extension. Okay, what else do we have to do here? I want to see if we dump this off. I'm just trying to get a better measure of the delta V's involved. We want vacuum. 8,000. That's up from 5,000. So this alone, assuming we can get it launched, should be enough. Even removing the 2,000 from the upper stage, which can then be dedicated to landing. That said, we want less monopropellant. We do need to keep the batteries relatively strong. And we're going interplanetary, so I want a good relay satellite on this. 20, that's 160. How much monopropellant is in here? 2,100, that is too much overkill. I want to go without monopropellant. This whole thing's going to be shrouded going up, so there's no reason to... I guess we should put the magnetometer on the probe. Not that big of a weight problem. And it was something we were missing last time. Part of me wants to swap out the T400 for the wider variant. That way it doesn't have to become freakishly tall. We got 220 oxidizer in this. This would be the equivalent and much shorter. Heck, we can go for something even wider. Okay, that's too wide. Okay, this would double the fuel on the upper stage without making it, like, freakishly wide. Nice, solid, stable base for landing, also. Experiment. Then we can start hiding stuff in the upper stages here. That looks good. Batteries on here. RCS is off to the side. The science suite can be connected vertically. Let's split this into two. The things that can be used in space and the things that can. Then magnetometer can go here. There's no reason to stop it from hitting the RTS thrusters, but just for like thematic. And if we're patient, we don't need as many RCS thrusters. Fuel tank can be moved up. And now this thing has an extra 1,000 meters per second on its own, without taking away too much from the nuclear stage. I like this. And the nuclear stage is now longer, which means it should be a lot more responsive to roll from the distant angled edge thruster block. Then finally, let's put the radiators back on. Thrust to weight ratio at launch. Well, let's put the lower stage back on, go back to altitude mode, and our TWR is just about... I don't actually remember where it tells me this. 1.83. So that's fine. Now, part of that is because the vector engines in the middle are used part of launch. I tend to throttle them back so that the SRBs can do most of the work beyond that. Let's check our staging real quick. We want this here. Now, that said, this center stage is pretty strong. I'm not worried too much about this getting into orbit. Do we have any wider fairings? Just offhand. We do. Okay, in that case, take the S3, S4 adapter tank and just make it an S4. What are you looking at? About 2880? That's an S3. 2880. Just want to optimize. And this can go straight up. Not straight up. 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 Up here. And congratulations, we've made a vertical line. Thrust to weight ratio is still 1.82. The fairing isn't doing much. We will need to put the fairing back on the control group. But yeah, everything else seems good to go. Okay, let's call this the FE-27. What are we gonna name this? Well, we had the dragster, and that was designed to just go. I know. I'm calling this Akira. Specifically, I'm invoking the motorcycle move everyone likes to reference in their shenanigans. Okay, final sanity check on staging. Good here. Good here, good here. Jettison those. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, what are these 8? Oh, right, the ones lower down. Fairing separation can go up here, though it does not matter. That on top, just for sanity. Then we have those go free. Jettison's that stage, all as well. Alright, we're good. Save this. Launch it. We're going back to Moho. We are going to lose a lot of performance on the lower stage simply because we've made something about twice as heavy on top. I suspect we will need to use the nuclear stage for the interplanetary transfer burn now, which is unfortunate. We could try and beef up the lower stage even further, but I'm frankly not sure what else I could do. Either way, we are stable. It is a beautiful morning. We are going back to Moho in 3, 2, 1. Launch velocity is good. Okay, I'm starting to think that for future launches, if we don't make it well here, that I want to elongate the lower stage. Just add more fuel to it. I'm gonna forget I said that, so. Chalk 1 up for the dramatic irony counter. Clear. And we're already at a pretty good altitude. We're above the 20-kilometer line, which means the air is going to be pretty thin. We're going to go horizontal. I'm going to stop off at 2,000. think we're ascending a bit higher than we were last time. Okay, we are away. Yeah, I'm looking at the remaining Delta V. We are definitely going to be using the nuclear stage for part of the interplanetary transfer. That's sad. I like to compartmentalize those separately, because then I would know how much fuel I have to work with. No such luck. But it's okay. We have filled this thing out with a lot more fuel. It should be good to go. Waiting on 70. Oh, that'll save us some Delta V. Head forward. We're really gonna have to respect how much this ship needs to rotate now. I've got plenty of reaction wheels, but this is a big ship. So what's our APO looking like? In the 80s, not bad. Okay, we're here. Let's go back to our classic math. Not you. Okay, sitting at a comfortable altitude of 82249. And we probably want to circularize. So target velocity is 2274.1. Simple and easy. All right, good enough. We are now in orbit. So, given our insights from last time, we want to launch ourselves a lot further into sunrise than we did before. I'm just going to point ourselves at the sun and time warp until we're at sunrise again. And then we'll start doing the math for the MOHO injection. Not sure if I'm using the word injection there correctly. Don't really care. Hello, sunrise. Okay, let's get to work. While this thing's going prograde, let's get some programming down. Escape calculator. So, we're at about 80613. That is rising somewhat. So I'm going to put in a safe 8100. Sorry, 81,000. Kerbin calculation goes into the escape sector. MOHO is still our target from Kerbin, so we do not need to change the excess. Our target velocity is 3974.6. Makes sense to me. The next question is where we're launching from. We were far too early last time. An error I would like to correct. Now, given that we launched a bit later in the day, using this island peninsula, that's not an island, using this like peninsula as a reference again, should give us a later orbit burn, simply because we launched later in the day and did one orbit the exact same as last time. So I'm going to use this as our reference point. We're past the peninsula and we will burn. Target velocity, once again, is 3974.6. In 3, 2, 1, go. will need to use the nuclear stage for this, and that will muddle things. I do think we need to lengthen this stage. .300 meters per second to go. And why not? This is silly, but it is justifiable. Okay, I feel too silly about it now. As our altitude rises, the justifiability of this is bad. We're losing our accuracy. This burn is taking too long. I'm stopping. We're gonna have to adjust it on site. Okay, yeah, in terms of direction exiting Kerbin, this is a lot better. I like it. Okay, let's check our excess for sanity. We're at about 2400. Target excess was 2349. We're actually going too fast, which is interesting. So we'll just see what we got. I may even be inclined to just do one orbit to lower or raise our periapsis to something more ideal. First question though is logically, what's our periapsis? Given our high speed, it might even be below 5. No, it's 5212. Okay, yeah. Given this, I am going to go to the other side of the orbit and lower it. I know this is a loss on time, but we don't care about time. This is a probe. We technically would not have to have cared about time anyway. Not like it's going to be Dress, which took like 60 years to get to. It was a long mission. We had to do a lot of orbits, really correct ourselves to the best of our ability. Frankly, it takes us on average like 10 years to get to Duna per mission. Takes a lot of orbits to refine your orbit. The only reason Moho went so fast is because its orbit's so fast. Okay. 13479 million. Target radius is the one for Moho. Target velocity is 6873.7. Not that distant. Notably, the ship is rotating a lot faster than I expected it would. Not fizz warped or anything. Just going. Okay. 6873.7. We're there. So then we're gonna go down to our target altitude of 5 billion exactly, and then start doing a phase alignment. Yeah. Things Kerbal Space Program doesn't teach you. Astrometry. So I was like, I don't need the map. Real world, we didn't have a map. We had to make our own. Why do I get a map? There were a lot of parts of this that were easier than I expected. Like, the math is pretty absolute. It gets to a point where you just sort of rely, you trust it. You put your trust in it because you know it works, and it just works. Some of the early Minmus missions went way better than I thought they would. I was like, oh no, this thing is inclined and eccentric, but no. We developed our protocols, our strategies to account for that, and they worked beautifully. I was getting reliable encounters, not even have to care about inclination. The only mission that I think is going to be nigh impossible is Elu. Elu is what scares me. Jewel doesn't scare me so much. It's really big, so I expect the capture will be fast. It'll take a long time. It will be tedious. Elu will be tedious, but Elu will also be hard. Thing is eccentric as all heck. It's the most eccentric thing in the solar system, save for Gilly, which we got to miraculously. I do not want to go back to Gilly. Oh. Autosave messing up my timing. Okay, we're here. So, let's find Moho. There's Moho. Nice and simple, it's right behind us. So, go to locked camera, point ourselves horizon sun down, line ourselves to point the ship, use the ship as a giant arrow, and then descend to see what angle Moho's at. Okay, I'm gonna call that 12 degrees. So, with our phase aligner, we are at a radius of 5... Well, okay, I'm just gonna put in just the Moho semi-major apsis, because that's what we're at. Paste that in. We are pitched down 12 degrees, and it is behind us. I'm going to do 2 orbits, just to give us some adjustment time. Target apoapsis radius would be 549, periapsis would be 502. Moho is behind us, so we want target apoapsis. This will be the big money burn. So back to here. Based in that, altitude is 5 billion exactly. Target velocity is going to be 15087.2. Well, we got our work cut out for us. In 3, 2, 1, go. And let's try and get that vertical speed zeroed. As long as we're not moving vertically, we can spend more time on this burn, not worrying about it being muddled because of how long of a burn it is. Boop. Okay. And away we go. Target velocity is 15087. We are going to be here a while. Starting to get worried about our fuel already, even though we have, like, 10 kilometers per second of delta V throughout the whole ship. I think we'll be okay. Keep it low. Keep our vertical speed low. I do not want that 5 billion turning into a 5.001 billion. Thank goodness it's a log scale. It gives us precision at slow speeds. See that rising. Okay, we're at 1700. We gotta get down to 15087. All we gotta do now is wait. And keep our vertical speed zeroed. What if I asparagus staged the nuclear stage? We're going to be carrying around an empty tin for most of this. It's like, why not just slap some of the tanks on the side and then ditch them? All right, 1,000 meters per second to go. But this is like the most expensive part. We get through this, we're good. 15087. Warp off. Okay, so now that we're here, theoretically we should do 2 orbits and Moho will be aligned with us on our phase. It will not be perfect. We accept this. But it'll be good. Let's just keep tabs on Moho while we're doing this. Go to free camera, please. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. Okay. We're good. We'll just do the orbits and we'll enter the epicycle. Hold on. No, I'm getting confused because the ship is rotating. Ignore the ship. What's important is the camera angle and the star charts. This is going to require some comprehension of intuition here. So we can't use the phase alignment as a perfect... Wait, are we at half an orbit? Oops. Got an orbit to go. Okay, I've bungled this slightly, but the phase is pretty good right now. I'm going to make the executive decision to go into manual phase adjustment. We're going to do several orbits, slowly inching ourselves forward, with the eventual goal of getting Moho to pass us on the same line. Same deal as last time. We want Moho to go directly above or below us at some point in its orbit. So to do that, we want a target apoapsis of that. Like I'm setting pitch down manually to 2%. It's based on nothing but my general sense of how far we should be moving. Put that in here. 14981. Okay, 14981. Point 3. Okay, I know we're a little past the periapsis. I'll try and correct it during the descent. We should go through 5 million at some point. 5 billion. A little too impatient for my own good. Anyway, let's follow Moho. Lost Moho. Where Moho? There's Moho. That was real close. We might be there. Full admission, my orbit work was sloppy, and it is still continuing to be so. But I think we're close already. So I'm going to circularize and just sort of see what we get. First off, I'm fixing where our periapsis is. It's here now. Now we should have to go prograde for this. Nope, that's an off by 10 error. Look at what I did. Leave that. 14926.7, and that should be circular. Go retrograde, please. One, 4926.7. Okay. So we're gonna watch Moho. We're in a circular orbit, so we can cancel this operation at any time. We want to see if Moho goes like directly north or south of us. This could be the moment. Switch to orbital cam. Steer straight north. There's Moho. Okay, it's a bit off to the side. It's fine. Let's try it on the other end. We're in the epicycle. Ooh, this is looking good. Interesting. I think we went through a full orbit and Moho is there. I want to see... So our estimate for Moho's semi-major axis is 5 million altitude exactly. I want to see if it's going closer or further away from us right here, right now. So I'm going to do one full orbit and see if it changes its position relative to us on the map. Not on the map, but like on the screen. I've put my cursor where Moho was in that orbit. We're going to do one full rotation, see if it's left or right of that. Here it comes. You obviously can't see my cursor, but it is to the left. Okay, that means I don't really care what it means right now, to be perfectly honest. What it means for us is that if we simply wait, Moho will move itself to being directly above us in our orbit at some point. And that's when we'll strike. So really, we just do a bunch of orbits until it's there. Realign my cursor to where Moho is right now and do another spin. And I've set myself radial out because that seems to be the direction Moho is moving relative to us for the most part. Given that, that's going to be basically the direction we want to burn. And it is moving. This is... Okay, you know what? If we're in a 3-minute ad, this is the perfect time to do this. Because nothing's happening. Just gonna orbit in this circle long enough that Moho moves over us. Because what's really happening is not Moho's orbit changing. It's our orbital period being different. Maybe I should be aligning it like this. There it is. And then proceed. And then in enough orbits, it will be behind us, and then we go. And conveniently, because it's Moho and the orbit is so fast, we don't have to worry too much about this taking forever. By my vague estimate of how fast Moho is moving, I suspect this will take like 10 more orbits, if we want it to be really, really precise. I'm not too interested in realigning anymore if I'm just confident that it is going in that direction. Though I am curious how our radial out position has changed over this maneuver. Congratulations on the ad being over. So our orbital period, our semi-major axis, is slightly wrong for Moho, but I'm using that to my advantage. Every orbit, Moho is flying by, looking straight north, a little closer to the ship. The moment it gets directly behind the ship is when I'll do the same crazy maneuver I did last time. And I'm doing this simply because it's simpler, easier, and it won't take a million years like Dress. Otherwise, we could have adjusted this phase manually ourselves. But if it's gonna work, you can wait for it. Got the Trojan Green asteroid background music again. Zooming out a bit to get more precision on Moho's position. If you're waiting for Moho to fly by, it's to the right of the ship, and it happens just about at the radial out point. You should see a slightly brown dot streaking in from bottom to top. Or, I can just point it out to you right now. There it is. Moho. And we're getting there. These sort of camera-locked tricks are really good for getting some sense of a precise orientation. Because I know we're pointing straight north. We're close. I guess this is one case where having a wrong semi-major axis is good. Okay, I'm thinking 2 or 3 more orbits, just based on the progression here. Some orbits, it feels like it doesn't progress as far. I think this is it. Yep, we are eclipsed. Radial out. Get ready. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a minute. sleep time, I'm going to use the MET, so I'm going to wait till 3 hours, 15 minutes on this particular day. And I'm just going to run it for a minute. Then we'll time warp a little bit, see how we're looking. I'm a big fan of the geometry of the situation. Okay, that was a minute. Check time warp, see where it's moving. Still moving up. Okay, I'm gonna give this like 2 minutes. This is just based on my assumptions of we're a heavier ship than last time and how long it took before. If we overshoot, that's perfect. We want to overshoot. Not too much, but just a little. Okay. Time warp. Still going up. That's fine. Let's do another minute. Now I feel like we actually have fuel to burn. Okay. More. Another minute. Okay, in my mind, we're getting close to good. Still more? Okay, in an abundance of caution, I'm going to go down to 30-second increment. It's like some of the motion we're seeing might just be parallax. It's definitely slower. Another 30 seconds. Or I'm going for 40 seconds, actually. Okay. It is resilient. I'm going to go for another minute. I'll go for 40 seconds. Not slowing down. Another 30 seconds. That's slower. That's slower. Let's do 15 seconds. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. A little more. Let's say another 15 seconds. We just want to make sure the parallax is going towards center screen. Still moving out. I'm going to give it 30. Any amount lower, and I'll feel confident about this. Nearly stationary. Okay, 30 seconds like this. Oh, we've lost glint. We have lost glint. We are glintless. I think what we want now is a little bit of retrograde. Let's give it 20 seconds. Whoa, I went dangerous on that time warp for a second. Something a little in between. This is about the direction I'm seeing it move. So let's say 30 seconds here. Maybe 20. It's moving backwards, which means we've overshot in a vector, which is very good. I still don't see the surface yet. Wait, I think I do. Yeah, I see it. We have a new scar in the sky. We have contact. 10 seconds. Oh, yeah. Okay. 10 seconds this way. The stage is running out of fuel. Another 10 seconds. Oh, it's getting big. It's enlarging. We have counter. We have encounter. Welcome to Moho. And oh, look at that. We are. I think we're gonna get a much deeper encounter. Phenomenal. All right, let's head down to our functional periapsis. I don't think we're on a collision course. Yeah, we're not. Very good. Very, very good. Okay. Oh, first off, while we're here this time, we got magnetometer powers. May as well use it. Since we're in the SOI we want to be in, I'd also like to turn on the camera. Good to see, good to see. Get this back to auto mode, please. This did not help me with my problem. Kind of stuck in there. Curb net on. Refresh. Oh, we're getting good data now. Okay. Also, thank you very much. Okay. Let's do this. This is not going to be the most fuel efficient thing, but we are going to be fine on fuel to do our metrics. You're going to get a first-hand account of how we do things around here. In terms of getting the metrics we need. Now we're going to want to get into an apoapsis under 1 million. Just so that we can... The reason we want an apoapsis under 1 million is purely for numerical precision, which is a fun problem to have. Okay, so for this, we're going to have to kind of eyeball it. Primarily, our goal is to just sort of circularize right now. Hey, you're just in time. We made it to Moho, and now we're going to get the parameters. We might lose the stage doing this. I think we're losing the stage doing this. Yeah, that's fine. 3,000 meters per second at Moho, I think we'll be fine. So burn this sage to exhaustion. So in order to get a good feel of if we're going up or down, while we try and eke out a good orbit, I'm going to try and make this an apsis. I don't know if this is apoapsis or periapsis. We'll find out when we time warp a little bit. Okay, this is an apoapsis. We want to lower it. Let's go down to 500 meters per second. I think that's a good estimate. I don't know how big Moho is. I don't have an intuition for that. I assume it's smaller than Duna. Let's try 700. Radial in, please. Maybe even use the RCS. Okay, then time warp slightly. How up are we going? Okay, Looks like we're gonna have to keep burning speed. Really, I just want to get to a point where we know our apoapsis is not infinity. Or I guess more accurately, not a negative number. Because if it's a negative number, you're in a hyperbolic orbit. That means you're leaving. I'll go down to 400. Okay. It's still an apoapsis, but I'm pretty confident it's one where we're still in orbit. Yeah, okay. I don't think we're going to be escaping. If we do, I'm going to be real upset with myself. Okay, we're at the other side. Let's lower this to 150. This should get us below the 1 million barrier. We need to set up our survey orbit. Coincidentally, we're in a polar orbit, it seems. Doesn't really help or hinder anything. It's a little inconvenient visually, just because the camera has to do weird stuff to look at Duna. Okay, we are now solidly under 1 million meters, which means we're going to be getting more precision in the numbers we measure. I'm going to take this orbit down to 400 again, I think. See what that does to the other side. Actually, I'll go 350. We're going to be dealing with, like, moon to Duna levels of gravity here. Oh, whoa, whoa! I think this is apoapsis now. Please don't be on a collision course. 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 Please do not be on a collision course. Little worried. Okay, it would appear that we are not on a collision course, which means this is now a valid and functional survey orbit. Let's start doing some math. Or I guess some bookkeeping. So, 109.674, 808.9. 808.9, 674, 808.975. Okay, so, welcome to the survey. The radius survey. So, for this, we need, for a particular orbit, it's apoapsis and periapsis is altitude and velocity. We just saw that the minimum number that the periapsis went to was 109.674. So that's what we put here. Our velocity for that was 808.9. Now the error is just the bounds to get like how accurate a measurement we are. Because we are under 1,000,000 altitude, this will be 0.5. Otherwise, it would be 500. Our velocity error is always 0.05 because it gives us everything down to the nearest tenth. Next, we time warp up to apoapsis and record its values there as well. Trying to be as close as possible. 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 95. Okay, so 96 was the highest it got to. So we want for our apoapsis altitude 581,196. Error, because it's under 1,000,000, is 0.5. Velocity is 350 flat. Error of 0.05. And our significant figures for this whole ordeal is going to be the number of digits in the least digited number we have. For almost all situations, that's constrained by velocity. And indeed it is. So it's going to be 4. And this gives us a calculated radius of 250 kilometers with an error of plus or minus 100 meters. You could not ask for a better result. So that means I'm going to go right over to the MOHO section of the radius and type in 250 kilometers. And I'm putting that as a very solid green. That is a good result. That's a very, very good result. And fortunately, because all these spreadsheets are connected, this has, to an extent, begun the math to put onto our MOHO Delta V calculator. In fact, we can now type in an altitude here, and MOHO will just update. Well, okay, it won't update here because it's needs to know the standard gravitational parameter, which is what we get next. This was the observation survey. Yeah, the mood determiner. So, just scroll over here. So, here we go. Planet radius is going to be our correcting factor here. So, was it 25,000 or 250? 250. Yeah, 25,000 radius does not make sense. So we put that in here. Now we put the periapsis and apoapsis of our orbit into these two positions. We can do it in terms of altitude because we have this radius parameter. We can simply take these straight from our radius survey. Paste that in. Paste that in. Now, the only thing we're missing now, I have accidentally pasted in the exact same number. Oops. We wanted to copy this, not paste over our own number. Much better. Okay. Now, the only thing we need to determine now is our orbital period, which we do by going around. So let's pick a time specific, like a mile marker. And for me, I like to pick when the highest number in our altitude reaches a certain amount. So I'm saying, let's say we stop it when we hit 6, 7, 8, 9, boom. Okay. So we'll go from universal time simply because it always shows these. Well, actually, this one has the seconds as well. Okay, so we'll use mission elapsed time for this. So, according to mission elapsed time, This is 6161. And the time is 3:15:31. We are now going to do a certain amount of orbits around Moho. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I like to do 10 personally. You want to see me do the alignment for the last bit? And we're here. So now we log this time. The current time is 6164. Time of 4:47:16. We did 10 orbits, so our orbital period is about 7,030 seconds. Combined with our calculated apoapsis and periapsis for this orbit, and therefore our semi-major axis, we can conclude that the standard gravitational parameter for Moho is just about this big number. And with that, we can go over to our data, put in the SGP of that into the Moho slot. Be really annoyed that it's decided to convey this number with scientific notation. Can you, like, not format that, please? I'm mildly annoyed by you. It's a number, buddy. There we go, and give that a very, very happy light green. So now, let's just try and compare and contrast this to other SGPs we found. It's bigger than Ike. It's smaller than Duna. It's smaller than Eve. Actually, why is Duna so huge? Why is Eve smaller? Oh, no, it's because we have decimal points in this. Let's just round these all to integers in the depiction, just to help me visualize it better. There we go. All right. You... Fully roll. Yeah, so you can see a lot of things. So this isn't the mass of the planet, but it's pretty close to, like, relative to each other, the mass we're dealing with. So we know that Ike... I won't say any ratios. We know that Moho is bigger than Ike by a lot, but it's smaller than Duna. It's also significantly larger than Dres. Yeah, just looking all these numbers together, I'm seeing Moho is about on the scale of... I think the closest comparison would be the moon. Which makes sense. The Moho is slightly bigger radius than the moon. So these all sort of correspond pretty good. I don't know exactly the density. It's just a mass and radius to me. We could try and figure out the proper mass and relative density, but that's sort of irrelevant to what we're doing right now. More importantly, with the SGP and the radius installed, the delta V calculator is now operational. So theoretically, we can put in the parameters we have right now, and it should circle back to being the correct number. This will be a sanity check for us. So let's say, hypothetically, we were at our periapsis, and we wanted the speed to get to apoapsis. Once again, I have bungled this by pasting when I meant to copy. I do that too often. So paste that in. And it says that we want a velocity of 809.0. If we go over to our radius survey, the velocity we had at periapsis was 808.9, which means we now have an orbit calculator. Great. Cool. That means we can start doing maneuvers. So what do we want to do? Naturally, I would like to get some general orbital data. At periapsis, we should be close enough to get nearby, perhaps. Yeah, we're still high over right now. Let's just get some science. Go to some biomes, see some biomes. We got highlands and midlands at high orbit. But I think we're about to go over a crater, and that'd be cool to get some data on. Ah, we just missed it. Let's just do some orbits, get some data. Missed that one too, just perfectly threading the needle on these craters. Can't help but be a little grumpy about that. Oh! Ooh! This planet actually differentiates the two poles. Law of gravity data. Transmit that. Keep an eye on our electricity. I know we got RTGs, but we don't have a lot of capacity. Everything else is just high over. I think. Like Vylog pressure, yeah, it's just high over. Temperature is high over. It's only the gravioli and maybe the magnetometer. Let me check again. Yeah, it's high over. Only the gravioli differentiates the biomes from this altitude. So with gravioli, we've got Midlands, Highlands, and North Pole. And I missed something because I time warped too far. Now, on the other side, our orbit's very eccentric. We might be in space near territory. When we hit periapsis, I'll check. Oh, there's shadow. There's a new biome. Minor crater. Interesting. Let's log it. We're still high over at this altitude. I don't exactly know the cutoff for the individual planets. It's probably under 100 kilometers. But just in case it was something like 110, weirdly. Okay. We can stay high over for a little bit. If we can get, like, the South Pole and one of the major craters, that'd be cool. I'm also just spamming refresh on the... Whoa! This is South Pole. Cool. And then I definitely think we have enough fuel to do a landing. If this thing is on the level of Duna, or like the level of the moon, we definitely have enough fuel to do a landing. First, I'll take my time, try and get some good biome data. That huge crater is probably something. Oh, minor craters, highlands, midlands. Zoom in a little more. Really? This is just midlands? Would not have thought that. Maybe it's just a crater so big it's treated as Midlands. Either way, it's fine. Whoa, 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 whoa! Anomaly detected! Okay, that's very interesting. Is that just the mohole, or... I don't know. Interesting, interesting. Alright. If it does treat the moho as an anomaly, that's pretty close to where it would be. I don't want to change my alignment on the curb net because I want to make sure I know what biome we're directly above. Let me just check. Oh yeah, that is absolutely the exact North Pole. That must be the moho. Another minor crater. Whoa, 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 whoa. Northern sinkhole. Interesting. And then there's Northern Sinkhole Ridge, if we time this good. Interesting. This is some good data. Okay, I'm not going to worry too much about getting the data from every single location. I think I want to try heading towards landing. So let's go back to apoapsis and lower our periapsis to about 80 kilometers. Just a nice, safe, stable parking orbit. And you know what, that's good enough. We can afford to be sloppy, which is not something I thought I could say about the Moho mission. Historically low on fuel. Alright, so apoapsis is now 579338. We want an altitude of, I said, 80,000. Let's do that. Velocity target is 118.2. That's like worryingly low. Wait. Did you see my mistake? I put it in the dress calculator. Actual target velocity is 340.2. We've already overshot. Thank goodness for the ability to sanity check. Okay. Oh! I'm looking at CurbNet, and I'm seeing another anomaly at the North Pole. One of them, probably the Mohole. The other one, I have no idea. Okay, assuming Moho is spinning towards the east, like most planets do, I think I want to try and make that our landing site. So let's go to periapsis, let's circularize at 80,000, and then wait until that anomaly, provided it shows up again, is below us. That'd be cool. We've only ever found one other non-Kerbin right next to the Space Center monolith, and that was last stream at Minmus during a warm-up launch before we went to Dres. Okay, despite my screw up on the calculator, we appear to be pretty much on track for where I wanted my periapsis to be. And given that I did screw it up, this is quite good. Okay. 79843. And we want to circularize. 715.1 is our target velocity. Okay, welcome to a circular orbit. Are we low enough for gravioli? Yes, just above. We now have a new suite of science to do. While we do this science, we wait and look for the anomaly. I'm raising our field of view extremely, for the best odds of seeing it. Oh, wait for another Highlands, hopefully. There we go. Wait, we're high above... Oh, is the threshold 80 kilometers exactly? Huh. Okay, that's a little annoying, but workable, I guess. Well, in that case, I'm going to adjust our orbit until we're purely under 80,000. Where's periapsis? There's periapsis. Okay. New attempt at doing this circularization. 78330. Let's go to 78,000. Target velocity is 716.4. Good. We should now be strictly under 80 kilometers, and that means when I log this gravity data at the northern sinkhole ridge, we get that data. I missed the northern sinkhole, but at least I got the ridge. We got North Pole, another one for just above. There's got to be lowland somewhere on Moho, right? Either way, there's highlands. Let's move to stability. I'm sick of the satellite changing its position. Also, I would like to go to free cam. I would like Moho to stay strictly below us, please. Just for visual flair. Now let's look for that, well, one, any other biomes, but also that anomaly near the North Pole. First off, we got a minor crater. Let's block that gravity. I should also remember to get the data for the other sciences as well, now that we're low altitude. Pressure data can go. Temperature data is free. And then magnetometer from down here once we get enough energy. And once I can actually see the dang thing. Near one of the landing legs. Recharge the battery. Thankfully, we don't have any experiment on board that doesn't have enough electricity to transmit. Ooh. Very good. Very good. Okay, South Pole, be on the lookout for the anomalies. We know of possibly two near the North Pole. One of them might be the Moho. Whoa! I saw it! right off the left side. I think in another few orbits, we might be lucky enough to see it head on. Unfortunately, oh, wait. While we're here, ravioli over the northern sinkhole. A little bit of... I don't know, vigilance. Just sort of haphazardly timed. Yeah, okay, we can see the anomaly right off to the left. It cannot be the mohole. It's too far south to be the mohole. We've got a genuine anomaly on our hands. How do we want to approach it? Literally, how do we want to move towards it? Did I get South Pole? No, I didn't. Good job for rigor. Okay, I think a decent fuel-efficient way to go about this is to change our inclination just about now. Not too much, just enough to get us closer. Won't mess with the orbit too much. Just enough to deflect us towards more interesting land. There it is. CurbNet is being very reliable in detecting it, so I think it'll be okay that we just go around another orbit, prepare another inclination change near the equator, and just keep going about it. We're a bit low of the equator, but also the anomaly is a bit low of the North Pole, so no strict problem there. Okay. Little more. Is there lowlands in there? No, it's more highlands. There's the anomaly. I think it's about time that we start intercepting to, like, hit it. Let's go in for a landing. I know we're a bit high, but I think this is important. Okay, and down we go. starting to think that I've gotten way too greedy in trying to get to this anomaly, and we will run out of fuel on descent. I'm willing to accept that, though I am sad about it. They got some plans. Oh yeah, I got way too greedy, didn't I? Oh well. I'll accept my mistakes. At least we'll know that anomaly is nearby, and can therefore use this as a sort of reference marker. As far as whether or not we'll land successfully, it's gonna be close. It'll be really funny if we do land. Oh my goodness, we landed. Let us all give a resounding thank you to the engineers at the Kerbal Space Center for making a really durable tin can. We win. This is what winning looks like. Oh, the good old hover slam never fails unless you do it wrong. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh man, oh. This is the wild stuff. We did it. All right, cool. Let's get some science. Log that temperature. Log that pressure. Log that seismic. And log that gravioli. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Now, you know, strictly speaking, we know vaguely where the anomaly should be. We could try and look for it, like, visually, using the good old zoomed out cam. It should, like, physically exist. It's just that we're mostly operating blind here. But we know we're close. We deliberately landed as close as we could. You know, without crashing. Like, we have a rough intuition that that's north, so it should be over there. Hey, welcome back. I tried to inform you of a way that you could maybe still hear the stream using the corner cam, but I don't know if that worked for you or if you even tried. Point is, we made it. I got the science, and now I'm looking for the anomaly visually to see if it is as nearby as we were hoping. Unfortunately, it's very much needle in haystack situation here. Could it be this red thing? That looks pretty nifty. Yeah, that was a wild bounce. This red thing is interesting. I don't know if it's the anomaly. We could try and check by seeing if we... Yeah, okay, there's more red things. That's just a normal observational thing you can see on the planet. Like, that's north. It was vaguely to the side of our entry. Oh! No, that's just rocks. What about you? You are more rocks. Trying to look for any mysterious non-anti-alias glimmer hidden in the depths. Fortunately, all I'm finding are rocks. But like at a sufficient distance, we don't see rock anymore. But also you don't see anything else. If we ever want to find this anomaly again, we are going to need to bring another mission, probably. I think that's a worthwhile endeavor. Oh, wait a minute. Kind of annoying being this close, huh? We could roll the ship over there. But like a problem of the like the big problem here was that I was very, very impatient. It sort of went from 80 kilometers to 0. That is not fuel efficient at all. Either way, I'm happy we did it, and I'm happy with the results. And it's been a nice, clean, not very long 3 hours to do it. That's very good. After all, why not? Why not roll the ship over there? No, this would take forever and we don't even know where we're going. Kind of lost my sense of what direction it was in during that. Well, this justifies another mission to Moho at some point. I don't know, but there's more than one. So I think it's one of those, like, stationary things you can... Yeah, okay, it's some sort of, like, volcano ablative plume type thing. Which is just one of those things that you take the robot arm to, I imagine, for Moho. So that doesn't help us on our search. It's not the anomaly we're looking for. Now, we're too low on CurbNet to see the anomaly, which implies that it's probably pretty far away. But future missions will see this relay and we'll know where about to go. So that's good. So now we've finished, for the most part, our survey of the entirety of the inner solar system. all the way from Moho to Dres, we have gotten the parameters and the data to completion, except for Dres's SOI, but that's just because I wasn't paying attention. I can get that from the footage of the old stream. I just am too lazy to. And also the semi-major axis of Gilly, because forget Gilly. I am not dealing with Gilly. We got there, we landed, that's good enough for me. We didn't even know the semi-major axis, we just wung it to get there. But that leaves Jewel, all the moons of Jewel, and Elu. So I think we're in a nice position where we're gonna have to start doing some, like, mission planning. In fact, I've wanted to, like, I don't have a calculator for, like, Delta V budgeting yet. I was thinking, well, I could figure out the general Delta V to get into orbit, or at least assuming starting in low Kerbin orbit. There's the target velocity from a circular orbit. That's a number we can budget in. There's the the circularization at the planet's SMA. We could add in a little bit of a budget for like maybe 20-degree phase alignment and then just keep orbiting until it's good. That's a budget for alignment. Then we just enter the SOI, circularize with some extreme... Like, we can make a budget for a mission. And if we can make a budget for a mission, we can do a return mission with crew and stuff. That's an exciting prospect, and I think that would be the ultimate faith in the math for a lot of what we're doing. For now, though, I'm going to not do that. It's already been 3 hours. For a KSP stream, kind of short. For a stream of mine, pretty much the average. So, you know, let's just do a nice photo op, I guess. Get my HUD out of here. This is some good stuff. I like it. I like it with the shadow in the background like this. That's some good. Get ready to see this on the thumbnail for this stream. In like a week. Oh yeah, we have a foreground object there, we have a background object there. This is the angle, I think. I think this is definitely the angle. Nice. Okay. Very satisfied with our results. I think I'm gonna go now. I do need to end the stream. I have a hard deadline because the RFC has to go for 24 hours, and then after that there's a tournament in a few hours. I think we're pretty early, so I'm not as much of a time crunch as I was last week. But I do just want to make sure I'm not, like, going over time for this. So we're going to say, we landed on Moho, we got to figure out what we want to do next. This is a win. I'm Exception, this is in TV, have a good day, and good night.